This is my best find of the year. I drove from Atlanta to Arizona to get this car, and it's absolutely incredible. This is a 1985 300 CD. It's a coupe, and this car is immaculate. It only has 53,000 original miles on it. Let me turn on the light. I haven't done anything to this car yet. Oh, I'm sorry. I have done something. I took out the original radio because it was the original Becker radio, and I took it out to send it back to Becker because it wouldn't turn on. Look at the wood trim. The wood trim is absolutely incredible. The dash was covered. You can see the dust from Arizona. The dash has been covered for all these years. It's incredible. It's everything works on it. It's in great condition. The seats are nice. See, there's some dust up here from being in Arizona, but it was in the garage. And the original owner in 1985, when he picked up the car and had it imported from Germany, he was stationed in Germany, and before he left he had it imported. The story is probably posted right before I post this video. He had tint put on the window in 1985. That's the original tint from 1985. Because being in Arizona, you have to have that to preserve the cars. But this thing is in incredible condition. There you go, 56,000 miles. And you can tell that's real because look at the brake pedal. There's no wear on it. Let's pop the hood and look under here. Now keep in mind, I haven't done anything to this vehicle. Haven't started the restoration other than sending the radio back to Becker. I'm going to set this phone down and open the hood. And here we go. Look at that. It has the original hood pad is still on there. And the engine, all the cadmium plating is still on the engine. You can see it's dirty. It's never been cleaned. Oh yeah, that stuff just comes right off. It's just some grease and grime. This is the original car, and it's incredible. So I'm gonna take this back to showroom, factory showroom condition, and make it absolutely perfect. But just wanted to give a little preview of what's to come at Woods & Barclay Automotive. And please subscribe to the channel. I've got around 3,000 subscribers now, and I'm trying to answer all your comments. I'm getting tons of comments, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And this is part one that's kicking off this series of the 300 CD restoration. And as usual, we're going to go through window motors, greasing the tracks, front suspension, shocks, valve adjustment, cleaning the throttle linkage, removing the battery, inspecting the battery tray, checking the seat controls. Actually, I don't think these are power seats because it's not an SD car. But yeah, we're gonna, lubricate the sunroof, check the antenna, refurbish the antenna, all of it. Brakes, probably redo brake calipers, flush all the fluids, radiator, power steering, brakes, put a new filter in the diesel tank, flush out the old diesel. We're going to go completely through this car, make sure everything is 100%. And I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, Mark is the windshield expert, and he's come over here to replace this gasket. See how this is dry rotted? See, I can actually pick off pieces of the gasket here. That's dry rotted. So we've got a brand new Mercedes gasket. And also I called Mercedes and ordered a brand new windshield, because see that little rock chip? Someone tried to do a previous repair there, so we actually couldn't repair that because someone screwed up the previous repair. So I called Mercedes, and they actually have 22. They had 22 windshields for the 300 CD left in Germany, and I had a windshield shipped over from Germany. And so Mark is just, there's Mark. He's just gotten started on this, and in order to change the windshield, you have to pull out the pillars and some of this up here. Basically all this stuff has to come down so we can pull it out properly and put in the gasket. And I just laid out the original. This is an original Mercedes gasket ordered from the dealer. I have it laid out in the back of the car here. So he's going to get started on that. I'll show some of the process once he starts putting it in. So this outer pillar trim has to come off in order to get the gasket in there correctly. And this is a very, very tough windshield to install. That's why I call Mark. He does it on any time we need a window. He will do it. So to get these gaskets out, like I said before, the A-pillar, basically all the inside, the trim.
Yeah, all the trim has to come down. The pillar moldings and this header piece all has to come out in order to do this.
That's always the tricky part on these cars, because being 40 years old, sometimes it's
very fragile. It was fairly fragile when it was new. Not wanting to come loose.
So to get the top trim out, the spring-loaded rear view mirror has to pop out, and sometimes these are stuck in there because they don't get used. So here's how these mirrors work. You can see there's no corrosion. This one was in great condition, but that spring compresses in, and these little pins on the side, they will squish in, and those pins, they fit down inside this. That's what holds it in the car. So the idea is when your head hits it, it'll go sideways, and that spring will compress and pop out of the mount.
About their stuff, and just turn to glue after a while. They don't like to come back out.
So there's the actual headliner, and you can see Mark has removed the interior trim piece. Now you can get, that's the gasket, the windshield gasket. And unfortunately over the years, those, Mark's saying they turn to glue and pretty much glue themselves to the car just from the heat. He's over there.
It's the rubber compounds too. It was real soft to start with. It's just that's the way they deteriorate, unfortunately.
So Mark's going to cut this one out and put the nice new fresh gasket in there. And you can see this is why the pillar has to be removed, so you can get down here to the bottom of the gasket. Doing now, he's now that these the trim piece is detached a little here, he's taking the screws out. He's cutting around the edge of the window.
Trying to cut the rubber loose.
Yeah, he's basically cutting the rubber loose because it's seized in there from years of. It was a real soft gasket, and it'll just kind of melt into the car, and it's hard to get out. Mark cut it around the outside, and this one is so stuck in there, he's also cutting it around the inside perimeter because it's just not going to come out otherwise.
Yeah, part of how the gasket is made, these have a flap on them that acts as a water seal, and that flap attaches to the way it goes in, it pulls up against both parts of the pinch weld, and that's what'll just, and they put sealer on. So between the two, they just tend to bond themselves together.
Now these cracks you guys are seeing, obviously those weren't there. That's from us pushing from the inside. Mark put his foot up there to try to push it out. And it takes a lot of force, but that's now why he's cutting from the inside.
There it goes.
Yeah, that's where Mark put his foot to push from the inside. Of course, we have a brand new window from Mercedes, and this one already had a rock chip in it that couldn't be repaired, so we're just going to sacrifice this window, which has to be done to get it out. Cut along the top, now he's cutting along the bottom of the trim. Yeah, it'll bend easy. See, the trim has that little hook on it, and that little hook goes into the gasket. So in order to get that rotten, stuck gasket out, he's popping the trim out of it. Thomas, you getting in the way over there?
Nah.
Man, you make it look easy.
A lot of practice.
There's a little hook that hooks into the gasket. And there's cutting the gasket from under the trim right there. People are going to love this video. There's not many videos like this on YouTube. Is this one of the ones where you have to use the rope?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be good to catch. To put the seal back in, you have to put a rope around it, put it in, then slowly pull the rope out. It's a pretty neat process. I watched Mark do it on that car a couple of years ago. I guarantee you, other people selling these cars don't go through the amount of detail.
Most of them don't do anything but clean them up and flip them.
Yeah, and
They'll fix the bare minimum.
And we go through everything and make sure it's back to how it was at the factory.
If you're able to get any OE parts, that is the way to go.
Yeah, that's why I called Mercedes. They had 22 of these windshields left. That's it.
And there won't be any more.
And then there won't be any more. And they have the gaskets too. So I was able to get the original stuff. It's going to fight you the whole way.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Want me to grab on this side?
It's stuck down inside there. I may have to try and cut this bottom piece off.
Ah, there we go. It is out of there. Look at all that gunk he was dealing with. So you can see where the gasket has just pretty much glued itself to the car. So he's going to actually remove all that. Of course, there's no rust because it was an Arizona car. So the metal is perfect underneath here. So now Mark's cleaning up the, what do you call this lip? Or the
Pinch weld.
He's cleaning up the pinch weld so we can put a fresh gasket on there. And this is just all glued. It's not glued from the factory.
Oh, that's the combination of the sealer and the gasket. Most of that is gasket.
And all that comes off, so this is fresh metal, and if you don't do that, it'll leak. Plus,
You don't
just
do this, you'll never get it back in.
and you see all the dirt in here. This being an Arizona car, this is just real fine dust from the desert. And of course, we'll vacuum all this up, and it'll look nice.
The surface that goes against the glass is
Let's
really
show them let's show the guys the part number on this stuff. Here it is. There's the part number. It's a Mercedes part. This was shipped.
Got the star in it right there.
Yep. See, it has the Mercedes star. So this is the real deal. This was shipped in from Germany about 2 weeks ago. So here's the fresh gasket, and Mark just looked at it. It's in excellent condition. Well, it should be. It came out of this bag, and there's the part number, and it's directly from Mercedes. I gave them the VIN number, and they gave us the exact gasket. So we're putting in the real deal components. All right, Mark, what do we got going on here? I see
The gasket and the trim is assembled.
And what's this rope?
And the rope is inside the groove inside here, and that's actually what pulls this lip over the body to put it in.
Oh, you tucked it between. That's the seal that goes against.
This is the seal that I was peeling off. This is what glued itself to the car.
Okay, and the rope
But the rope goes inside this groove here. This goes over the pinch weld
and
holds the glass inside the car.
I see it.
And the rope is what pulls the rubber over the pinch weld to put it in the car.
Now, what did you do up here? I think you said something.
After I got it all cleaned up, I went back around with urethane primer and painted the pinch weld all the way around. So any scratches that I may have put through the paint, they've got a coat on them so that they won't rust.
Wow, that
Most
looks
people don't
great.
do that. I do. It's just I don't care. Excuse me. I don't care what kind of car you do it on, but you just make sure you don't have any issues later.
And also, we're actually going to remove the label, the signature sticker from the other windshield since it's original, and I guess that would go
passenger side. Yep.
That would go right here.
I'll do that after I get it in.
So that way we have it all back to exactly how it left the factory. And this is the 3M.
This is the body sealer. You don't need much because of the way the gasket's made, but it's never a bad idea to put some on.
So did Mercedes put it in here?
They did, and they used something fairly similar to this.
And as far as the urethane base that you put on there, is that a specific brand or model?
That is actually Dow urethane primer for, it's what you'd use on a late model car that glues together, but because of the what I'm using it for, it works. So you could use any kind of brush on top primer right there. Just something to cover up any scratches so you don't have bare metal. Just in case water was to get in there, you don't want to let any rust get started.
So it doesn't get any better than that. This stuff is pretty nasty.
It can be. The urethane primer's worse. You get that, let it get on the paint and get dry, you won't get it back off. It sets up pretty hard and fast.
So you just put one bead.
One small bead, and then once you, let me run this and I'll show you how that works, because like I said, this is why I was having to cut the old gasket away, because when it starts to deteriorate, this flap right here, you got an inner and an outer lip, and that's what these do when it pulls out of the body. It flattens out like that, and the bead of sealer will be inside here underneath them. But this stuff here, over time, just basically bakes itself to the body is what it'll do.
And that's what you were cutting out
earlier. That's what I
earlier.
was getting off of there, yeah. Basically,
Something.
But that's because of how the inner and the outer flap go, because this lays up against the pinch weld this way, and this one lays up against the body that way. That's how to keep them from leaking. But it's also why if you don't put sealer in there, like around these corners,
Oh,
you can
'cause
get water through there.
It doesn't
'Cause
go all the way
It
around.
can. If it
Yeah.
did, it'd tear.
Ah.
Trying to put it in, it would tear off anyway.
So they do it like that intentionally.
Yep.
And that's
Yep.
why they put the sealer. That's complicated.
Porsches, on the other hand, have a similar system, but they rarely ever had sealer out of the factory, and they all leaked.
So you're saying Mercedes is better than Porsche, right? For all those Porsche guys watching this video.
Oh. I'm not saying any one of them's better. They're both a pain in the ass. That's about all I can say about it.
Oh, there we go. You just set it right in there.
I go back in here.
That looks beautiful. Look at that. It's not even set all the way in there, but so nice having the original components. They just fit perfect. Is this how Mercedes did it?
Yeah.
Every car, they had to go through this.
They didn't have the dash in it.
Oh, that made it a lot easier.
A lot.
There's that beautiful gasket in there. And they're perfect. So basically you're running a pick through there just to...
Pulling, make sure the lip's pulled all the way out like it ought to be.
Oh, from the outside, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
The rope does it from the inside, this does it from the
You just make
outside.
sure the lip's pulled out over the body of where it's supposed to be.
Now it's just about reinstalling the trim. That's got to peel back over the lip. There we go.
The reason I use this particular type, you'll see here when I go to clean it off, it's real easy to clean off. And it doesn't leave, you don't have to use a solvent to do it.
So what Mark is saying is the factory, they sometimes also put sealant between the glass and the gasket. You can see where he just went back and did that. And that's a different sealant than what he put down on the body because it's it cleans off the glass easier. So he lets it dry and then he can get that off of there. Anyway, while he's doing that,
Do me a favor and put your finger on this.
all right,
Just kind of hold,
stop
put a
recording.
finger right.
Just the spring in there is, I think they designed it too tight.
Try your windows now, see if they work.
All right.
Well, if you ever want to screw somebody up, just disconnect the ground.
Yeah, so turns out the ground for the windows, I guess it terminates at this light right here, because when you unplug that light, the windows no longer roll up and down. Anyway, it's beautiful. It's back together. Well, the visors have to go back up, but every little piece is exactly back where it was, and that is a new Mercedes windshield.
This taxi through the 70s.
Show me how you're getting that off there. This is what you're talking, it comes off real
It
easy.
just dabs off. I just take my stick and cut it loose from the gasket, and it just pulls away.
Look at that.
You don't want to do this barehanded. Well, once or twice barehanded might be okay, but I had some serious skin problems from this stuff a few years ago. I thought it was awful.
Look at that. It does come off
The
there.
curing agent caused my palms to start splitting every line in them, and I mean deep work.
Yeah, that looks correct for sure. Mark, that's absolutely beautiful.
Get my gloves off, my wipers on, and the stickers swapped over, and they're ready to run.
That is the way you put in a window the right way. How long do you think that just took?
I don't know, what time is it?
You've been here
3 hours,
three-
give or take, maybe 3.5.
about 3 to 4 hours to do it the right way. And that's with 41 years experience. Perfectly lined up in there.